Ever walked down an empty school hallway and felt a chill? What if that chill wasn't just in your head? Today, we're diving into the mystery of Locker 314, a legend that has haunted Northgate High for over 15 years. It all starts with a sound, a faint, rhythmic tapping that seems to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Students would stop, look around, and find nothing. But the sound always led them to the same place, a lonely, rusted locker at the end of the third-floor hallway. Locker 314, it was just an old locker, covered in faded stickers and a few scratches. No one had used it for years. The school administration said the lock was jammed, that it was scheduled for removal, but they just never got around to it. But students knew better. They knew about the knocking. At first, it was sporadic. A few taps during passing periods, easily dismissed as the clanging of other lockers. But then it started happening when the halls were deserted. Late afternoon study sessions, janitors on their night shift, even teachers working late would hear it. Tap, tap, a deliberate, patient sound. The bravest among the students would dare each other to get close. They'd press their ears against the cold metal, holding their breath. And that's when they'd hear it. And not just knocking, but something else, a whisper. So faint it was almost like the wind, a dry, raspy voice. "Let me out, ... double quotes. The words would slither into their ears, sending ice down their spines. They'd leap back, hearts pounding, swearing they heard a voice from inside the empty locker. Of course, no one believed them at first. It was just a school prank, an urban legend to scare the freshmen. But the stories kept coming, each one more detailed and unnerving than the last. People started noticing other things about Locker 314. How the dust on the floor around it was always disturbed, even right after the janitors had cleaned. How the air around it felt colder, heavier. Some even claimed to see the locker door move. Just a fraction of an inch, a tiny, almost imperceptible shudder, as if something inside was pushing against it, testing its strength. The school tried to quash the rumors. They put a heavy chain and a new padlock on it, a big, industrial-looking thing. They said it was for safety, but everyone knew it was to keep whatever was inside in. This is where the story gets really interesting. A group of students, let's call them the Locker 314 Society, decided they had to know the truth. They were tired of the whispers and the legends. Armed with a borrowed set of bolt cutters and a collection of flashlights, they stayed late one Friday night. The school was silent, a huge dark maze. As they approached the third floor, the air grew thick and cold. And then they heard it. Tap, 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 louder this time, more insistent. As they got closer, the whisper started, not just one voice, but what sounded like several, all tangled together, pleading, "Let me out, ... Double quote of the students, a guy named Leo, held the bolt cutters. His hands were shaking, but his friends urged him on. The sound of the chain snapping echoed like a gunshot in the silent hall. The industrial padlock fell to the floor with a heavy clang. For a moment, everything went silent. The knocking stopped, the whispers ceased, the air was still. They stood there, staring at the old, rusted locker. Nothing happened. Was it all a hoax? A collective delusion? Leo reached out a trembling hand and pulled on the locker's handle. It was stiff, groaning in protest as he pulled. It opened just a crack, maybe an inch, and from that crack a blast of frigid, musty air rushed out, smelling of damp earth and something else. Something sickly sweet like decay. They all recoiled. Peering into the darkness, they could see nothing. It was just an empty, black space. But the whispers started again, this time right in their ears, as if the voices had escaped through the gap. "Let me out. It's so dark in here." Panicked, they slammed the locker shut. But it wouldn't close completely. It was stuck, that 1-inch gap remaining open. They ran. They didn't look back. They just ran. The next Monday, the school was buzzing. The broken chain and padlock were gone. The locker was shut tight, a brand new lock in place. The administration made an announcement warning against vandalism and spreading rumors. But the members of the Locker 314 Society knew what they had heard, what they had felt. And things got worse. The knocking became more frequent, the whispers louder. Students started reporting seeing a shadowy figure lingering by the locker, a tall, thin silhouette that would vanish when they got too close. The voice from the locker seemed to change, too. It wasn't just pleading anymore. Sometimes it sounded angry. Sometimes it would whisper students' names. This brings us to the core of the mystery. What or who is in locker 314? I did some digging into the school's history. 15 years ago, the same year the locker was officially taken out of commission, a student went missing. His name was David. He was a quiet kid, a bit of an outcast. He was last seen at school on a Friday afternoon. He told his friends he was staying late to finish a project. He was never seen again. Police searched everywhere. They interviewed everyone. The school was turned upside down, but they found nothing. He had simply vanished. His locker, you guessed it, locker 314. The official report concluded he ran away, but his family never believed it. He had no reason to leave. His backpack, his wallet, everything was still at home. It was as if he walked into the school and never walked out. Could there be a connection? Could the knocking, the whispers, be David, trapped somehow? Or is it something else entirely? Something that was drawn to his appearance. Something that has made that locker its home for the last 15 years. The school records are sealed, and anyone who was there at the time is reluctant to talk. It's a dark chapter they'd rather forget. The legend of Locker 314 continues to this day. Every new generation of students at Northgate High learns the story. They dare each other to listen for the knocking, to see if they can hear the whisper. Some say it's just a story. But others, those who have stood in that empty hallway late at night and heard that desperate tapping for themselves, they know better. They know that some doors are better left unopened. And some voices are better left unanswered? What do you think is in locker 314? Is it the ghost of a lost student or something far more sinister? Let me know your theories down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this spooky tale, be sure to like and subscribe for more mysteries. Stay curious and stay safe.